Hello everyone, my name's Terry. Glad to have you here. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends, share it with everybody. I will appreciate it so much. Thank you to everyone who's already subscribed. I love you. We're going to do a review of Steven Slate's Infinity EQ. I have an EQ that I use almost all the time now, and that is the Pro Q3. Now, this EQ is a great EQ. It has a great spectrum analyzer on it, which is a lot of the reason why I like it. So you can see in there that it starts to pull up what's actually going on. And that's something that a lot of other EQs did not have built into it, from the beginning. That's something you'd have to have separate back in the day. Now, people are starting to put that in there as it's really, really usable. And when I opened up this Infinity Q, I noticed it looked a lot like the Pro Q3, although it looks like there may be some improvements in there. So let's open it up. Okay, here it is. Infinity EQ. Has a very nice, sleek look to it. I love the color scheme with this like gradient going on. And let's pull it up on, and I have it on guitars right now. So this is a guitar bus. This is both guitars in stereo. So let's just play it and have a listen. So that's great, and then it holds it here for you. You can see where all the kind of resonant frequencies might be, and you could start to pick that stuff up and start to listen. So I'm just going to pick a couple that stand out to me, and I'm going to bring the gain way up so I can hear them. And then I'm going to start cutting stuff out of here. And I've never used this before. This is the first morning. I just downloaded this into the DAW. So we'll just see how easy it is to use right off the bat. It does do a little tutorial right off the bat. That kind of shows you, like most things do. But I'm just going to try to use it and see how easy it is to use. So here we go. okay. I mean, it's pretty easy to use. I like the spectrum analyzer on it. It sweeps nicely. It's very pleasing to look at. I mean, that's for sure. Let's see. I mean, it looks like there's some presets in here. We got hip hop, lo-fi, house, dubstep. What do they got for metal? Guitar beef. The Beefy Crunch Booster. Let's just roll through some of these. And before I go further, I mean, this was really intuitive. I liked it. I mean, most EQs are like this. This is nice, and it kind of shows you. I like how the spectrum analyzer follows it. Again, I like the colors. It just feels very creative. I like it. No glitches. I like that you can split these into looks like mid-side or left and right stereo, and you could use that to widen it out. A lot of times when you have a stereo like overhead or stereo something like that, or stereo guitars or something, or you have a master and you want to widen it out, you can pick different mid frequencies and make them right and left so that they poke out, and that'll make it just feel bigger. So I like that is built into this. The lock. I don't know exactly what that does. Oh, I guess it just leaves it there. But it's a lot like the Fab Filter. And you haven't seen the Fab Filter. I'm going to show it to you really quick here before we go into those presets, just to kind of show you. So here's the Fab Filter. The few things that I noticed right off the bat that the Slate Digital does not have, the Infinity EQ, is this. If we play, and you hold the cursor down at the bottom, it will show you the resonant frequencies. So, and you can grab them and clean it out. I don't see that. Maybe it is an option in there. I don't know, but that's one thing that this has that doesn't. This also has the option of being a dynamic EQ, so it has like a built-in sort of compressor. So if you wanted to have this mid scoop it, only when it was there, you would just, or these high-end pieces, you didn't want the whole everything to be taken over by it. You could here, I'll show you. This bottom one will, you have ratio on here and everything. So it becomes a dynamic EQ. So in any case, that's just showing you a couple of the options I'm looking for in here. If I was to replace my EQ with this EQ, it would have to have that because I use that all the time. Now let's go into these and see, what is this? Show presets. Oh, cool. I love the layout of this. It's just really, really sweet. Very, very usable. And like I said, it looks a lot like a, oh, look at this. What? Display the key Q bands, curves, and average. The combined curve of all bands. Oh, huh. Pretty cool. All right, let's, says here it could be used for mastering. I wonder what. Let's go back to our metal here. Guitar, clean, and thicker. Oh dear, look at this. I mean, that is cool looking. Let's see. Hey! Softened it up. It softened it up a lot. What is this? Oh, so this is the global curve, I'm assuming. Oh, that's really cool. Huh. Or you can do just the bands. Well, that's actually sweet. that's pretty cool. How about, what else we got here? Synth pumper. Heavy metal. It's a mastering EQ. Here we go. Distorted guitar. So this is what it shows us that it would just do as a preset. I don't like what's doing there. This is one of the features too that I noticed is you can link the bands together and move them all at once, which I've never I don't know that I've ever needed that, but who knows? Maybe as I use this, I'm gonna be like, oh wow, I couldn't live without it. I don't know. So this is pretty cool. You could move a bunch of bands at once with their same cue, same curve. So well, I mean, this thing is really nice looking. It really sounds good. I can tell it's got a quality that the Steven Slate stuff has, and I use a ton of Steven Slate stuff. I use his these emulations of these SSL compressors. I use these on everything, every bus, every time. I have one always set up in this template as I have the gray set up on my room mic. I have the gray set up on my overheads. I have the red set up on what I have for like an instrument bus. And I have his virtual mix rack I use constantly on percussion. It's just it's got like really great FET compressor, really great Neve EQ, and like this custom series is great. He makes great products is what I'm getting at. And this is absolutely right up there with it. If I could figure out how to make it a dynamic EQ, which it might have, I have no idea in here. It did not say anything about it in the tutorial that I saw. But besides that one thing, this thing is awesome. So congratulations, Steven. I'm glad you just continue to make great products, and I'll continue to buy them. You know, another thing is, I've heard this a lot. If you are working on something, it can be a good idea if you are working on something, it can be a good idea to use different EQs for different things. It just ends up giving the mix less of a one-dimensional feel. I don't know how true that is. I use multiple different types of EQs just because I do feel like even if they don't sound incredibly different from each other, I use them a little differently depending on their interface. And that's one thing that's cool about this is that, you know, the interface itself is very beautiful. And like I said, it just makes you feel really creative. I love it. And I'm going to start using this on all kinds of stuff. And, you know, I think it's going to become an EQ that I grab quite a bit. So hopefully this video is helpful. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share it on Facebook, Instagram, anything you could think of, share it. And if you haven't checked out my podcast, check it out. It's the Ultranas podcast. It's on anything that you can listen to a podcast on. There's even podcast hosts that I have never even heard of that it's on. So if you have Spotify, you have Apple, you have all that stuff, look it up, Ultranas podcast. I have awesome guests on there. We talk about the music industry, engineering, and just all kinds of different awesome stuff. So I love you all, and I will see you next time. All right.